set one, it was Nordebek who played the better chess in critical moments. And in this matchup, there were several critical moments as well between the two highest rated players in the world fighting for a spot in the finals. Fabi has to win this set. It starts with the king's pawn opening. And are we going to see another Archangels by Fabi that worked so well? The moment of truth is now.
Wow, and Magnus Carlsen repeating his strategy yesterday, which somewhat backfired. Yesterday, one win, one win, one loss with the white pieces for Magnus Carlsen, but both games he was suffering. It's Fabi, though, who switches things up. Doesn't put the bishop on c5, puts black bishop just on e7, so no dark Archangel today. Going back to more classical waters, Robert.
And we saw Magnus look to the side because he probably was anticipating that Fabi might go back down his chessable course. He may have spent a lot of time outside of playing in the pub, watching some chess videos, seeing what Fabiano had in store for him, but this is some classical chess opening lines, and Magnus playing a quiet variation from the white side, pawn to a3. He's not challenging black's advanced pawn on the queen side over here, so this might be a longer battle. What do you think that suits more?
Normally I would say Magnus Carlsen, but then again, Fabiano is still well within his opening preparation, and unfortunately in this opening, the Spanish in general, there's not much new under the sun for Fabiano. He will have studied it all before, and you can see by his quick response, he's ready, he's prepared. He, with black, was the first to launch a surprise, and Magnus now the first to think.
For set one, Magnus showed up straight out of bed, but it's clear that was quite a wake-up call for him. Everything that happened yesterday, he was so close to losing set one, and today, looking sharp, playing a sharp opening as well. Despite Fabi losing set one, it just feels that Fabi just needs to do exactly what he did on day one, because he could have pretty much wrapped up the match in 3 games.
Yeah, Fabi, he just needs to be maybe a bit luckier, a bit sharper when the clocks are really ticking down low. That's the only thing that stopped him in game 1 yesterday, but he did everything right. You talked about Magnus looking sleepy yesterday, looking a bit sharper today. Is that just because of the hair quality? Slicked back hair today for Magnus. Fabiano, meanwhile, always looks sharp. Bishop out to g5, still a new position, still a well-known position, sorry, Robert.
Well, yesterday we talked about air quality, hair quality, and today we really do need to talk about chair quality because we saw the arbiter, Judith, she was fixing the players' chairs, making sure that they were sitting in their proper seat. And right now we see that Fabiano, he thrusts his pawn forward to c5. We are seeing some trades. So by pushing the c pawn 2 squares, the square next to it, the d5 square, is one that is accessible to white's pieces. So Magnus, he's playing for these pluses. He has the control of that key central square, and for that knight on the rim for Fabiano, I do expect it to jump back. There it goes. I feel like we're still in the framework of these two players.
his clock though. Fabi is down to about 2.5 minutes. Magnus has a 3-minute advantage almost on the clock. Is it time for Magnus to liquidate the situation further, pick up that e5 pawn, and he'd be happy if Black was to pick up the b4 pawn? Can Fabi actually make something of the pin if Magnus was to go knight into pawn at the center of the board?
I don't actually think there's a way to exploit the pin because white can always defend it, but it does look like, as David would say, hoovering off the pieces is the way to go. So if Magnus can just get them all off, it'll be equal. But on the right-hand side of our screen, the evo bar went down a bit. Nordebek quickly responded and it went right back up. So perhaps missed opportunities there for Nordebek of Nursatarov. I don't think he's mentally resigned because he always gives a fight, and he is opening up a line on the right-hand side in front of the white king, but apparently there was a better move.
Yeah, there was a better move. Not an easy one. I think he played the most human approach out to Satorov. He's trying to open up White's king, which doesn't look like it has too much shelter, so still some counter chances against Wesley's king there. But he could have actually brought the black queen forward into e7. Difficult move, eyeing up the a3 pawn. There was a pin on the e-file. Now Wesley has stabilized. The only safe square for the white king is the one in the corner, but luckily it's protected by that beautiful Dartford bishop, which landed on b2 as early as move 2, and is now dominating the board, dictating the play. Wesley still a piece to the good.
Nordebek up to Satrov, as always, just never giving up. And I think there were a lot of takeaways from day one, and one of them was that you just continue to fight it out till the end. And he has sacrificed his rook for that bishop that you were pointing out, which controls key squares on the queen side. And now a black can think about stepping up with that rook to b2 to create some chances, to at least create a chaos on the board. A huge threat. Queen takes pawn, as well as the knight in the center of the board under fire.
And Wesley's move here is pretty easy. He has one move that defends the knight and defends the pawn. Queen diagonal to the right hand side. Queen e3 protects both. The black king is also about to get checkmated. So it's not just the white king in danger. The black king actually may be even more trouble. So great recognition by Wesley. Also great time management by him. He's been leading on the clock from start to the finish, and now Nordebek just down to a minute left, and his chances are going out the window.
And I want to draw your attention to the left side of the board, because that central pawn was grabbed by Magnus Carlsen, and we were talking about whether you take advantage of the pin or not. Fabi, instead of hoovering all the pawns off the board, steps up with the rook to the central file, attacks that knight. White has moved the rook as well. Are we expecting all the trades on that e5 square? Pick up that b4 pawn, draw, agreed?
Yeah, Fabiano Caruana has the chance to draw pretty much on the spot if he trades off the white knight in the center of the board over there. If he takes it, it's a draw, guaranteed. He's looking for more, he's trying to look for options to keep the game alive, but ultimately there was nothing else. He takes. The rook's off the board as well. Black will take the pawn, and dead draw. We see a handshake. Carlsen against Caruana, it is a draw.
First game between the two top players in the world number 1 and world number 2, ends in a draw. 3 more rapid games to go. Meanwhile, Wesley putting the finishing touches in his game. Practical standpoint.
Yes and no. I'm going to say yes.